The things I identify with, you know, it's crazy because I was listening to you a while ago, and I start laughing because you talked about Rush Limbaugh. Not to change the subject, but what's going on today, you got to talk about it. I hate talking about politics, but it's so messed up out there today. You have no choice. You have to. You know, and I was listening to you, I don't know, maybe 2 weeks ago when you talked about Rush Limbaugh. I don't know if you remember.
Yeah.
And you talked about that's when you realize you may be conservative when you started listening to him. And it's so crazy you said that. That's exactly what happened to me. I was in school killed right after 9/11, because that's when I started paying attention to politics after 9/11. And I sort of got turned off to the mob lifestyle, because what happened was when the towers fell, I was underneath the TV. You know, you remember you had to listen to the TVs with the headphones, and I'm under the TV. And we're watching it, and then I took off the headphones, and I'm with a couple of wise guys, and they put across the thing, 200 and something NYPD officers were missing in the building. And one of the wise guys, this guy from Jersey, turned around and go, more cops should have ran in the building. And it's the first time, like, and I looked at it and I go, what are you joking? I go, you know, these guys went in there to help, to save people. I used to go in them buildings with my kids. What are you kidding me? And it's sort of, that's when the lifestyle, believe it or not, started rubbing me the wrong way. And then when the election came around with Kerry and Bush, I'm in the yard and I'm playing with the radio, and I hear this guy talking, right? And I start listening to it, and I'm walking, and I start identifying what the guy said, and it was Rush Limbaugh. And I'm going, holy shit, this guy's making a lot of sense. And it's crazy.
And you didn't know who he was when you first heard him, right?
No, when I first heard him, I didn't know who he was. Not at all.
Me neither. I never heard it. And I'm listening to him. I had the Sony Walkman. I'm in jail.
Yeah, me too.
I'm saying, man, I agree with a lot of things this guy is saying. Then I'm thinking back, and I'm saying, you know, every time we had a politician, you know, Meade Esposito and all of these guys, and we were screwing around with them, paying them off. They were all Democrats. Every one of them. They were easier to corrupt. Let's be honest.
That's it.
That's why we were all Democrats back then.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I never remember my father doing business with a Republican. Meade Esposito, he was out of East New York. My father was like, I used to go to his sister's restaurant. His sister had a restaurant in East New York where Meade hung out, and I used to go to it with my father all the time. I mean, all the time. And who was a bigger powerhouse Democrat than Meade Esposito?
He was the #1 guy in New York, the Democrat.
He is.
And Andrew Russo was with him all the time. I used to drive Andrew around. We used to go to fundraisers for him and everything. He was very, very tight. But Anthony, you know, without getting into politics, honestly, we got to talk about this. Is there a bigger crime family on the street than there is in the White House right now?
Oh my God! Is that a sixth family? I was just telling somebody the other day. That's the sixth family. I mean, it's amazing. This guy for 40 years, this guy's been robbing for 40 years.
You know what the funny thing? They don't even care that people know anymore.
They don't care.
We used to try to hide things. They're out in the open. They don't care.
Why should they hide? They run the show.
Exactly.
Listen, when my father told me when Watergate happened that long ago, he told me, come here. He called me into the living room. He said, come here. He says, you see them? That's the real mafia. He told me. He said they wrote the book on treachery. These people. That's the real. Look what they did. They took over everything. Listen, I was just telling somebody the other day. They asked me what was the demise of the mob. In my opinion, the beginning of the end was the RICO statute.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right when remember Terry Franzese, the guy from the, he was the first test case. I remember. When he got convicted of the first RICO, my father was in the kitchen reading the paper, and he told me, it's all over first. This RICO's going to ruin us. And he went to jail for RICOs. I went to jail for RICOs. You went to jail for RICOs. All of us went to jail. That was the beginning of the end. Through that RICO statute, they took over everything.
Yes.
private sanitation, the gambling, the drugs, everything. I get every day I get in the mail approved loans. Every day, stacks of mail like this, 20,000, 30,000. Don't pay them and see what happens to you.
I'll tell you this, Anthony. My son, my Michael Jr., right? He's a good kid, but he's a little nutty too. You know, I find out, he said, Dad, I got to borrow some money. I said, what happened? He says, you know, I took one of these payday loans. He says, and the interest is killing me. I can never pay it off. And if you see the interest that they charge on these loans, when we go to the street and we're charging a point or two, and we're, you know, making people that can't go to the bank, we're giving them money. And then you got the BS out there that we used to put all of these guys in a hospital and all that. Oh, nonsense. So we gave guys money. We don't want to put them in a hospital. We want them to pay us, right? We gave them breaks. We gave them deals. We let them extend it. These payday loans are worse than any Shylocks on the street. And it's legal. You know what I found out, Anthony? As long as the government can tax you, they don't care what you're doing. As long as they can tax you. Gambling, how many of us guys went to jail for gambling? Yeah. Now it's legal. They tax you, it's okay. They took over, you're 100% right. And with RICO, they took over every industry and they tax you to death. They waste the money. They spend it on themselves. They get rich. It's without a doubt, sixth crime. Yeah.
I mean, you were with the gas tax. Look what they're doing today with the gas.
Unbelievable.
Gas.
Unbelievable.
In California, where you live, forget it. The gas is, what is it, $7 a gallon?
It's the tax, the state tax in California is 72 cents. Just the state. Add another 18 for the feds. We pay $6 a gallon out here. Yeah. I'm going to be honest with you, to all your people. If I could rob them again, I would do it in 1 minute.
Yeah, of course, without a doubt. Without a doubt. How much time did you get for that case?
I got 10 years. I took a plea. I got 10 years, and I did 8 on the 10, but they hit me with a $14.7 million restitution, and then I had $5 million in forfeitures on top of that. So they got me for $20 million. They cleaned me out, Anthony.
They cleaned you out. Yeah, they took everything. That's what they do. Did they throw that into a RICO? Was that a RICO? Yeah. What was the predicate act?
It was tax fraud was the predicate act. And then one other baloney thing, I forget what it was. But listen to this, Anthony. This is the truth. The guy that testified, my partner, he flipped on me, right? When I went to trial in the Giuliani case, he testifies against me first in the Giuliani case, the big racketeering case. I get acquitted, right? So now the government says you're useless. We're throwing you out of the witness protection program. He and I had $33 million in an account in Austria. It was a numbered account. He had half the number. I had the other half the number. When he flipped, I went and got his son and I said, listen, I'll fight him in court. I get it. But tell him, don't give up the money. That's our money. It's $33 million. Let it with interest. It'll be $50 million before you know it. So for the whole time, he doesn't give it up, right? When they threatened to throw him out of the program, he said, wait a minute, I got more information on Michael. He gives them his half of the account. Now, the number. Now, the FBI goes to Austria and they say, listen, this is a Mafia account. We got half the number. We want you to give us the money. The bank in Austria says, screw you. You bring us the whole number or we keep the money here. So now when I'm negotiating my plea, my lawyer says, you're never going to get your hands on the money. They know about it already. So I used it as a tool to get my time down from 20 down to 10. I give him that. I signed a plea agreement. Do you know that the $33 million never showed up in the plea agreement? It vanished. Yeah, it vanished. Where the heck did that money go?
Biden got it.
It vanished. It doesn't show up anywhere. And if I bring it up, they'll call me a liar.
Of course. It's amazing. They hold all the cards. We're pawns. They hold all the cards. Listen, I went to jail for writing numbers. This active crackhead was robbing millions. People were giving him millions of dollars. It's crazy.
Yeah. And he's donating it to the Democratic Party. Yeah. He'll get a sweetheart deal too. Like I think you're talking about that guy Bankman and Hunter Biden. Forget about it. Yeah. Anthony, I had 18 shell companies that were licensed to collect the tax. They didn't have a building. They didn't have an employee. They had nothing but a bank account. And all we were doing was collecting money and sending it every other place. That's exactly what Biden is doing with those accounts. They shell companies that do nothing but collect money.
Yeah.
Same exact thing. They don't ask them the right questions. I wish I had an opportunity to sit down with him and say, explain this business that you have. You know, where's your offices? Who's your employees? And what product or what service are you providing to collect this money? They can't answer that.
They can't, because they're the mob. It's the mob. It's the mob.
Absolutely.
It's the mob. It's crazy. It's just, you know, and everybody keeps asking me the same thing, to buy, you know, the same questions. But I want to ask you this question. You know, I just came from Arizona. You know that, right? I just was out in Arizona. Did you went out there with him when you did? Did you do the show?
Yeah, I did the show with him.
Did you go to Arizona?
I went to Arizona. Yeah.
What'd you think of it? What'd you think of the setup?
I mean, you know, listen, Sammy is Sammy. I mean, look, we had a good time. It was okay. He did it. I know he's trying different things. I mean, I didn't even watch it afterwards. I know he posted it someplace, but if we had some kind of deal, he said, Michael, we're going to, and I didn't care, honestly, Anthony. If I could help him, I wanted to help him. But let me turn the table. What did you think?
Well, I tell you, he treated me really well. I never knew he was that fun, that much of a jokester. Like, I was pleasantly surprised. He likes to play jokes on people. I think, for me, he was professional. We got along great. Him and I, you know, we have some history together. You know, he told me things that I was curious about, you know, a couple of inside information, things that I wasn't really sure of. And I asked him, he cleared it up for me. And I told him a few things that he didn't know, which I was surprised that he didn't know, but he appreciated that. And I thought it was very professional. The set was nice. He had a beautiful set. They treated me really well. The two girls that work for him, Anna and Amina, are
very nice,
very professional, intelligent. I had a great experience.
And I had the same experience also. The restaurant was good, you know.
Yeah.
No, Sammy is when you're around him and you're with him, he's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun.
He was teasing me. He had a fake gun, you know, in his drawer. So he wanted to, when I walked in, he said, when you walked in, I was going to point this out. It looks like a real gun. But he said, but I don't want it, you know, I don't want, and I started laughing. A couple of times he caught me, like with joke. He like said something and like I looked and he caught me, you know, he got me a couple of times. There were some remarks he made about some incident on the news, and it was, but we had a good time. I'm looking forward to seeing what the show, you know, how the show comes out. So what are you doing in Europe? You going to Europe Wednesday? What's that all about?
Yeah, I'm going to Italy. I got a little business with our wine and stuff that we're doing, and I'm taking my wife and daughter with me. So we're going to spend, usually at the end of August, it's my wife and my daughter's birthday. So I always take them away. And I always try to combine it with business. Like, you know, I'll be honest, last year I did a tour in Europe, in the United Kingdom rather. So they're paying me for vacation. The vacation is like for free, you know. So
yeah, that's good. Are they okay with that?
Yeah, they're okay with it. They let me do a little bit of work.
But you have what, 5 daughters, don't you?
5 daughters and 2 boys.
Which daughter's going with you? Which the daughter that's going with you?
The baby, the youngest one, she's 24. And then the middle one, who's 36.
And what about the rest of them? They don't want to go, or they're not?
Oh, they can't go. I won't take them all. No, they all want to go.
Yeah,
they all want to go. But we listen. It's all about family, Anthony. You know that we have a good time together, and you know it's good.